Brawlhalla's recent balance patch shook up everything. In my last video, I talked about the new best of the best legends, so today, I'll be talking about the new most underrated legends. 5 of them, to be specific. Some expected, and some probably not. Let's start with Reno. Yo, this video is not sponsored,
but I wanted to tell you I opened up a second channel based on all of your requests about more longer videos.
Well, that's up right now with a bunch that you can already watch. And if you don't, I will make your life a living nightmare.
Reno has benefited a lot from this patch. In fact, he's benefited more than most legends in the entire game, because not only did blasters get an insane buff, one that I will no doubt go into far more detail as this video goes on, but Orb also didn't get changed at all, which means the stars for our bug boy have finally aligned. Long have we waited for the day where Reno is actually a top tier threat. Reno feels very much like the forgotten middle child among the Orb characters. He hasn't hit the same peaks as Fate, for example, which, to be fair, is pretty hard. After all, Fate has Scythe, which is already like plus 20 in terms of being picked, and then also Fate won a world championship. So like, what other characters can realistically say that? We are just straight up Dragon Ball Zing it. But even then, Reno still compared to characters like Petra, very much forgotten. And it's not even just that he came out more recently, because Red Raptor is way more popular, especially at the higher ranks. Something about Reno just never clicked. Maybe the nerfs post his release, particularly on this move. If you weren't around for the days of on-release Reno, it was a very different time than the Reno of 2025. He was very strong and often seen as one of the best characters in the game because his signatures had some crazy momentum properties where he would just go flying when using them. That was brought down, and in turn, his pick rate also fell. But make no mistake, he was never bad. For whatever reason, maybe it has to do with his statistics, 7 base dexterity as your default status stack, that is not ideal. Nobody really wants that unless it's a very niche scenario like Cassidy that I mentioned in my last video. Having high dex, really great for her. Now, technically, Reno can access those crazy 4-hit throw combos that make Cassidy and Vrax so insane this patch. But to do so, you need to forego this strength stance, which is what I would recommend, go into dex, and even then, it's very inconsistent. If you're a Reno fan though, I wouldn't worry about that. Getting 4-hit true combos, that's an anomaly. It's not what makes blasters good, it makes them better, to be certain, but they're still very strong. Otherwise, I would say, if not the best weapon in the game, then at the very least, the second best. Chakram is a big unknown right now, and that's part of why. The buff they received this patch, just too insane for them not to be at the top of the meta. You probably know by now that sidelight into side air is true. A true combo, a guaranteed combo, your opponent cannot dodge out of it. That deals a lot of damage. The same is the case with sidelight into neutral air. In fact, that's also a true combo. But it's even better than you think. Something I didn't really go over in my last video, I was saving it for this one, is how this buff to Sidelight's damage output is not just a buff to Sidelight's damage output. It's one, a buff to Blaster's damage output in general, because now people are more afraid of Sidelight, and so they're more likely to approach you in places where an N-light, a downlight might connect. I don't even want to hit, I don't even want to combo right now. And 2, you're able to put on so much extra pressure for free because side air knocks away, neutral air knocks away. And where are blasters best? When your opponent is knocked away. We know blasters as the ranged weapon. It has the most range of any weapon in the game. But what does that actually mean in gameplay? Well, you're better off not when your opponent is close, but when you have some distance between you. It sounds obvious. You probably think about that all the time when it comes to your matchups, but do you think about that when it comes to balance? For most people, I'd say probably not, especially when it comes to balance setups, attack setups, and signatures are included with that. Let's just play this stock out and see. We'll see in real time how much extra do I get from one extra hit. Well, they're off position there, they use their dodge. I got 3 more from it. I mean, actually, just perfect. You could not ask for a more perfect example. Because I got the extra side air, they were afraid of even more hits. Right there, even more. I get this entire edge guard position because of 1 extra hit. I got you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. See, it's not just more damage, it's not just another combo, it completely reshapes the way the weapon plays. Now that you see all of that, it's no question why Blasters Legends are being picked like crazy. But why Reno specifically? Why this bug guy? Well, let me tell you something. Orb was already good. It was a weapon that was very, very strong, particularly because it controlled space so well. You want to attack somewhere, you want to be somewhere, well, guess what? The orb is floating around, landing with those side airs, interrupting with those side lights, punishing with these down airs, walling you out, ow, and then finishing you off with nickel and dime hits. Just like that. Now think about where blasters are strong. They're strong at a distance. They're strong horizontally. Where is orb really good? Up close and above you, and also diagonally. An angle that blasters, as you can see right here, they are just not punishing me. Now I'm not exactly trying to hit them, I'm just mashing this down air as a demonstration tool to show that this is a pretty safe area to occupy if you're up against the potential new best weapon in the game. Orb, if you recall me mentioning at the start, was not changed in this most recent balance patch. But sword, greatsword, lance guitars, and chakram were. They were all nerfed. So Reno is sitting pretty good. As is Vivi. And I promise you, she's gonna be the only other Blasters legend I talk about in this video. While you could certainly argue that any or all of the Blasters legends in the game, including Thatch, could take any of these spots, for the sake of not having everything be blasters, I'm selecting Vivi. Vivi excels in the exact area where Reno might have a little bit of difficulty, and that is the signatures. Vivi has one of the best sig kits in the entire game, particularly on her boots. Although make no mistake, the blasters ones are very good too. Typically when a character has an insane sig, it changes the way they play compared to other legends of that same weapon. Vivi, she has 3 of them, starting with this boots down sig, which is almost like a character in itself. This move, it's actually insanely ridiculous. Even the top pro players struggle not just to punish, but to beat and contest this move. This thing, it's absurd. You hold it, you spin in place, and you have an active hitbox, which means you can use it to punish like you just saw. You can use it to anticipate your opponent's movement, like I did right there. And you could also choose which direction to send in, which means, yes, it can be used as a reversal. When I say this signature is like a character, I'm not kidding. Look at me move to the right and I just evade there. You can just completely escape. How is your opponent supposed to punish this when I can kick in front, or I can kick this way and then escape? I mean, that's just like the 2 back-to-back right there. Perfect demonstration. I might be dead. And look at the priority too. It's crazy. Underrated is the perfect word to describe Vivi. She is, I found this thing in the dollar store. It's a race changer. It's kind of sick, right? Did you know, by the way, let me pick up some blasters here, that Vivi also has a true combo on her blasters into a signature? I bet you didn't know that, but does she need it? Probably not, but she has it. I'm telling you, the more you look into this character, the crazier it gets. Like that spike right there. Insane. I feel like people are not using Vivi enough, and therefore the word has not spread enough. But like, look at that. If I just dashed and did that, like, look at their health. This is Magyar. This is the most defense in the entire game. It's not even like a high defense character. This is the defense character. I'm hitting this. Oh, well. It worked out anyway. I am a tax fugitive. If this patch, these blasters buffs, do not put more people on Vivi to explore just how insane she really is, I will be very surprised. When people talk about power creep, this is an example. Because look at, like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Vivi has one of the strongest blasters in the game that isn't like the high dex characters. And in a patch where blasters are this good, I mean, you already know what that means. You can fill in the pieces here. You already know what that means. Vivi herself was not very popular when she came out, which is surprising. It's a very fun weapon set, and I think both of these weapons cover each other very nicely. One of them is a close range, fast attacker, and the other is the long range one. But maybe it's because of that difference that she was not that popular. Either way, did you see where that signature hit? The end sig on the battle boots. It's an anti-air, of course. You can see it hits upward. But it's a little bit more than that too. You see, most anti-airs are just that. They are anti-aerial attacks. Even a move as good, as iconic as this Cassidy Lasso cannot hit on the ground. That is not the case when it comes to Vivi. And in fact, it can also KO horizontally. It's a little bit of a weird one. My voice just cracked. That's how good it is. And my screen is glitching. This is not good. Vivi's blasters are crazy. Her stats are pretty great. Right now, I'm running 7 attack and 7 speed at the same time. I am... they're still alive. I thought for sure they were dead. Oh, it's been so long since I've played Boots. But you know what? That's sort of the point here, is that you'll notice I didn't mention Boots in the nerf list either. Boots went unchanged, which means Vivi. Okay, you know what I'm saying? That's an anti-air. It covers the air. It covers the ground. I'm losing train of thought. That's how good this move is. Goodbye. Sorry. Between the dropped edge guard, I thought it was over, and everything that's going on right now, I am a little bit overwhelmed. Just save them, and I feel like it's kind of speaking for itself. You know what I mean? It's kind of speaking for itself. I evaded there. I just got out of it. Feels pretty good. I feel like the only reason why Vivi hasn't received any significant changes in a while. I mean, she did get nerfed, right? Like she's gotten nerfed, but you can see even with a nerf, very, very good. I just evaded, and I have a projectile too. If you didn't know. It's the Vivi difference. If the stars have aligned for Reno, then surely, certainly, undoubtedly, they have aligned for Vivi as well. Look at me just control this weapon. You are not getting this thing. Boots are not what they once were. They are no longer the best weapon in the game uncontested with a crazy stare like it was on release. But that doesn't mean they're bad. And actually, I would argue that they are quite good, especially when they're on a character like Vivi. Boots do not deal the most amount of individual damage, which can mean they can struggle to knock out. And that's important if at any point in the match you get disarmed. Because ideally, if you ever lose your weapon, you want your other one to be able to clean up nicely. That's part of why Taros is so terrifying. Even if you disarm him, both weapons have crazy KO potential. And that's where Vivi's lucky. Because regardless of which weapon she's on, Blaster's now with the crazy new power, and Boots with these insane signatures, she does not have to worry about KO power. All of this in her kit synergizes so well. Like I said in the last match, I'm running 7 strength, high strength character, incredible sigs, ridiculous, ludicrous, redonkulous, can I even pull that one out? Hitboxes, and tons of utility. Look at that. I was being edge guarded, and somehow they're the one that got sent to the depths. But I fear it may be I who must next dive into the depths of play rate, that is, as the next legend on my list is Nash. A character that in many ways is the polar opposite of Vivi. Where Vivi is often cited as the prime example of power creep, Nash is cited as the example of, hey, maybe things have been crazy for a long time. Because Nash's signature kit, if we're talking about moves, feels like his hitboxes are still in beta.
I'm making a note here.
Vivi's weapons are a lot about the small hits. You get your 1, you get your 2 here and there, 3, 4, you open up a string again, you do it one more time, and suddenly they're in kill percent. Nash is a... It does not take many hits for a Nash to knock out. And I'm sure you can imagine, you can hypothesize what might happen if all of a sudden it took fewer hits, even less, for Nash to knock out. Surely that would be crazy, right? Well, as a matter of fact, it's not crazy, because 4 of Hammer's moves got buffed to deal more damage. 4 critical moves in its kit. That was a nice little bit. That was a boom. It went a boom. Taros is taking the spotlight, but Nash has something that Taros doesn't, which is extremely spammable signatures. I gotta die first. I can't do that. I can't do this to another Nash. Peace! For my money, if we're talking signatures, I think Nash's kit is the most underrated in the game. People forget he exists, they queue into him, they remember, and then suddenly, I don't know, it's just like the memory just evaporates, because these signatures, like I mentioned, are the perfect argument against power creep being in Brawlhalla. Now, make no mistake, power creep does exist, but when you see moves like this one, like this one in the game on one of the oldest legends, the argument changes from buff the older legends to give some of the older legends a couple more options. Remember when I said anti-airs that hit on the ground are really quite special? Well, first of all, Nash does have one of those, but what about anti-airs that aren't even anti-airs? How do we even categorize that? Well, for me, I do it by putting him in this list, where he belongs. I think people get caught in the trap of using this move all the time, the most telegraphed of his kit, and make no mistake, this one is good too, and it's fun. It's very fun to use. You can get some crazy positioning, like right there. If I wasn't just spamming the same thing over and over again, I'd actually get a full edge guard out of it, like right there, for example. But that's a bit of a red herring. It's the other two. It's this one, and it's this one. That, like, what just happened? What just happened? Well, we just spawned in. We just spawned. We actually... What are we? What are we? You see what I'm saying? That's not. I need to get a real job. Clearing battle pass missions like by accident. Just talking about this guy. This actually might be the scariest character in the game. Just off of that stock alone, I've decided I'm gonna make a whole Nash video. Like what was that? Anyway, you see that side sig hit, by the way? Yeah. And so, when damage buildup, for example, gets buffed, that makes signatures even better. Oh, what a crazy dodge that was. Anyway, you get it. You get the idea. Because you're dealing more damage, they get into kill percent faster, and signatures are often used as KO moves. This is not right. Something is not right here. I started recording this video today because it was very highly requested. I don't know what we've unearthed. What have we unleashed onto the player base? Here's the crazy thing. I don't play Nash. In fact, he's one of my worst characters. Like, period. But the fact that I'm still able to get so much mileage just by mashing this button, it tells you something. I mean, I literally have a crutch as my weapon right now. I'm not gonna fill in the blanks for you. You can figure that out for yourself. I didn't dodge. Like, this is the caliber of player that you're watching right now. But, you know, it's okay. I missed! I almost made it happen, though. I almost made it happen. Yeah, this thing has other functions, too. It's hard to play like this. Hello. I love collecting Funko Pops. Okay, wait. This one is called Man. It's supposed to make me sound more like a man. Stop. Fine. What is that? Okay, sorry. Let me just dedicate one last game to Nash here, so we can see him actually properly in action with me thinking about how I can utilize his signatures a little more without just mashing them. Although, who knows? Maybe it's less effective. I'm gonna try to hit them off the bomb. I am so dumb. Okay, back to plan A. Gimme. Let's real talk for a moment here. Thank you. Nash's hammer allows you to do things that other characters' hammers can't do. And that is a hallmark of a character that takes a bit of a mastery. Now, I don't know how much you'd consider what I'm doing right now mastery. I wouldn't, to be fair. But at the very least, this Jiro has to be aware of hitboxes that you should not have to worry about. You should not have to jump 3 times to be able to avoid a side sig. But that's the world we live in right now. I'm gonna go to this platform. I didn't land on the platform somehow. I'm out of jumps. That's okay. If we're talking about playing against a legend differently than anyone else, well then perhaps there's no better example in the entire game than Yumiko. Yup, because of this move, you know it very well. Her down sigs are one of the few actual proper zoning tools in the entire game, and up until Arcadia's release, the only signatures that functioned like this. They make playing against Yumiko different from every other bow and every other hammer, because it's like a bit of an obstacle course. You have to know exactly where to stand, where to avoid the timing of these blowing up, and then if your timing is ever so slightly off, you're gonna eat a combo. Maybe you're gonna eat 40 damage, or you could even die from it. So it's something you got to be very, very careful about. It's not unbeatable by any means, but where it really excels is when you are a little bit off, when you get a little bit flustered. Maybe your timing is a bit off. Maybe you get hit by an N-sig off stage and suddenly you're in a bad position, you're panicking, you're trying to get back, you finally make it back, and then you have to reset your mentality and go back to evading it like you were before. It's a hard game to play, and exactly like I'm saying, this Zarya, who was doing such a good job of avoiding it earlier, just ran into 2 in a row. Hammer, as you know, is doing very, very well this patch, and Yumiko's hammer is among the best. I'm among the worst, though. That's unfortunate. If I'm a proper Yumiko player, that's the game, but always another chance. Yumiko, alongside Nash, also has some nice setups into her side sig. That's gonna deal a bunch of damage. You know about all that, so let me swap over to this bow and talk a little bit about that, because it's actually very, very similar to the case with Orb. Bow went unchanged this patch. It's also a weapon that rewards good movement, it rewards controlling space, and it really attacks at some angles that a lot of weapons don't like, especially with this Neutralite. This is one of the best anti-airs in the game. I'm sure you know, you've been hit by it so many times. It's just, it's like a perfect light attack. The fact that this is in its kit changes everything about bow. It changes how you have to move against it, and suddenly it makes the side airs, the neutral airs, the downlights so much better. Bow is a fluid weapon that thrives on spacing. And if you remember, blasters can struggle against these diagonals, the diagonal under, the diagonal over. Bow has 2 moves that cover both of those. It has a move that hits stacked. Blasters struggle when you're really close to the opponent. That's what stacked means. And on top of that, its combo starter can close the distance distance that Blasters likes to keep. This is a weapon that is good into the meta weapon, which makes it even better. And it's the perfect alternate weapon for Yumiko to wield. She's all about controlling space on that hammer, and guess what? You disarm her and her other weapon does the same thing. I think the design of Yumiko is very, very smart. I think giving her bow makes this character feel wholly unique. For so much of the player base, sword was the comfort pick. It might not be your main weapon, but if it's on a legend, they're bound to be pretty good. They're bound to be pretty solid, and they're bound to be able to get you pretty far, even if you don't play it that much. But now that sword has been nerfed pretty heavily, people are going to be more uncomfortable in their picks. And who thrives on uncomfortability? Well, it's Yumiko. She does so well when people's movement is not quite there, when they're a little bit flustered, when they're ever so slightly off their game. That is her time to shine. That is where she excels. That's what she's designed to punish very, very effectively. And that's the state of the game that we're in right now. Brawlhalla in 2025 is not the same as Brawlhalla in 2024. It's not the same as Brawlhalla in 2023. Constant adaptations have to be made. And a character that forces you to make constant adaptations even within the match, that's gonna be a meta shaker for sure. Yumiko, I feel, is quite underrated because you have your Yumiko specialists, the people that love playing Yumiko, that thrive with this playstyle, but you don't really see people that don't main Yumiko ever lock her in. It is something you rarely ever see, and something that I think can potentially change a lot in the coming months as people have to find new legends to lock in. I want to see if I can get a little bit of a goofy KO this game. Yumiko rising in popularity takes more than just Yumiko getting better. I think it also takes a lot of characters getting worse. Didn't think that was going to KO. But getting worse, that is the exact opposite of what has happened to Dusk over the years. Buff after buff after buff after buff after buff. He is an insanely good character now that for some reason still has the moniker of being mid. Being a little bit middle. So let me dispel all of that right away. Dusk is crazy good, especially on his spear. I'll show that off in the next game. These moves got buffed to have invisible recovery frames. This is another case of where is the lag, because I don't see it. At this point, Dusk is almost famous for being underrated. He's more well known for being underrated than anything else, which if you think about it, doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm not talking about because he's actually secretly good. I mean, that is the case, but actually the definition of the word, how is he hidden and also famous? But at the same time, I'm literally blending into the map on my default skin and it wasn't adjusted in game, so it seems even Brawlhalla forgot about Dusk. That's a little unfortunate. You saw the ability to just swipe the opponent out of the air, steal their stock. I did it again there with the neutral sig. This thing is so fast, you cannot react to it, and it moves you forward, and it has very little recovery time. Talking about recovery time, this side sig, it has none. It has none. I'm gonna use it. I'm instantly be able to attack again. If it's KOs on the ground, I'm losing my ability to speak because I'm so dumbfounded that people don't like this character for some reason. They don't pick him. They think he sucks. I don't understand it. You'll see in every comment section, every video, can you talk about Dusk? He's my main. He's underrated. How do people not know at this point? Like, look, how are they punishing? They can't. Could I have talked about Isaiah here? Yes, I absolutely could have. Could I have talked about Vector? Could I have talked about half of the other legends in the game? Yes, but if I didn't select Dusk, they would come for me. They want blood. They want my bones. And you know what? I'm not going to take that risk today. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm not going to take that risk. Dusk does have one stinker that everyone's going to bring up. Of course, I am referring to... the further up you go, the sooner you're going to die. Okay. Of course, I'm talking about Spear Down Sig. This move, yeah, it's a stinker. It's a stinker. It freezes your momentum when you use it, so you're just stuck. It is quite slow, especially relative to his other moves. You saw right there, it didn't even start up in time. Now I'm dead. The only time this move was good was when it was glitched and you could just hit through the wall and that would connect. That's like that's it. That's it pretty much. If any move is in need of a rework in his kit, oh my god, it's this one. It feels like it does not hit where you want it to. And other moves that are similar in design, like Vrax's downsig on the blasters, just leagues better. If it got the cross treatment where if it would travel more when you use it, when you charge it, maybe that'll be nice. Maybe something like it gains height. Maybe it gains an angle when you charge it. That would also be interesting. But it's okay, because Dusk doesn't need those to be good. He has his other ones. He has his other ones that are really, really good. I meant to slide charge there. I messed up. I hope I don't die for it. I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Dusk is okay. I mean, he's got this one, and then like, what are they gonna do? Right? I use this. What are they gonna do? I use this. What are they gonna do? I use this, and I pray. So there it is. There's my list. Ending off on Dusk. I feel unstoppable when I play this character, to be honest with you. Some of these setups that you can get leading into Ensig, they're just amazing. Like, look, I can't be touched. It was all a bait. It was all a bait. I am unbeatable when I play Dusk. Yeah, never mind.